back to my vegan kitchen. I've got a great recipe for you today. It's for spinach lasagna. This one is really special because it's kind of like a cross between veggie lasagna and spanakopita. It's going to have the spinachy taste of spanakopita, but in a casserole, a lasagna casserole. So the first thing that we're going to do to get started is take our 1 pound of sliced mushrooms, and we're going to spread it out on a little cookie sheet, and we're going to pop this in the oven just to get some moisture out of the mushrooms because you don't want it to be too wet. So do the best you can. This is a smaller cookie sheet because I'm doing it in the toaster oven, but if you got a bigger cookie sheet, even better. So we're going to pop this in at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just until the mushrooms start to dry out a little bit. The next step is to make our bechamel, but today it's going to be more of a bechamel. It's going to be more of a creamed spinach. We're going to begin by melting our butter. We're going to put in 1/4 cup. I measure everything incredibly accurately, which is just goes to show you guys, if it's not completely count on something going wrong, it's fine. If it's not exact, it's not going to be a big deal. This is cooking, this is not baking. So we've got about 1/4 cup in here. We're going to take it over to the stove and melt this down, about medium heat. We're also going to be adding 1/2 cup of flour or so. Again, if it's not exact, BFD. Put that in. Then we're going to be adding some pepper. As much as you like. If you like pepper, put a lot. If you don't like it at all, you don't have to put it. We're going to be adding one teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt. You guys know that's the only salt that I use. Also, we're going to be adding about 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. This is going to give it a lot of flavor. So we're going to cook this until it forms a paste. When the butter melts, it's going to combine with the flour, and when we add the liquid, it's going to make it nearly impossible to get lumps in there. You want to get every bit of flour coated so that those flour molecules don't stick together. That's the whole point of doing this first and then adding the liquid so you don't get lumps. Alright, here we go. This is the part of the show when we switch over to a whisk because we want to whisk the liquid in. So I'm going to measure out exactly 3 cups, but I'm going to do probably about 1.5 cups at a time.
Lucy!
When this starts to get thick, then I'm going to add the rest of the milk. It might be a little bit more than 3 cups. You know, go with your gut. If it's too thick, of course, thin it out a little bit. We want this to be like pancake batter thickness. And when you use your non-dairy milk and you're making a savory dish, please don't get the vanilla. You're going to be very, very disappointed with vanilla savory food. So make sure you just get the unsweetened original. And don't stop stirring unless you like lumps. So that looks pretty good. We're just going to bring that up to the lowest simmer when you start to see bubbles, and then we're going to add the cheese. Alright, we're ready to add the cheese. Look at that nice consistency. I did add a little bit extra non-dairy milk because it seemed to be a little bit too thick, and you just don't want it too thick. So we've got about 1/2 block of the Gouda, the smoked Gouda from Daiya. Use any cheese that you like. We really like this one.
We're obsessed with this one.
Yeah, it's got a nice smoky flavor to it, and it even not in dishes, just with crackers, it's amazing. So hashtag not spawn, but wish I was. Just when this starts to melt, it's going to take a little bit. You might want to turn the heat down just a little bit. After that gets melty, we're going to add in the 2 final ingredients, and that is 2 bags of cut leaf spinach, frozen cut leaf spinach. If you've got fresh, great, you must be rich. Alright guys, let's get you up to speed. We've got some water on to pre-boil our lasagna noodles. I know they sell like the ones that you don't have to do that. I absolutely hate them.
Okay.
I like doing it the old-fashioned way. It always tastes better, and I always get consistent results with that. This is how the spinach bechamel looks. Basically, without the spinach, this is the same sauce that I use for the mac and cheese. One version of it anyway. So that's going to cool off a little bit. Our mushrooms just came out of the oven. This is perfect. This is exactly how you want them to look, just like that. And I just got to go get a jar of sauce and we'll be ready to put this together. By the way, parboiled noodles for about 5 or 6 minutes. It doesn't really matter exactly because they're still going to cook in the oven, so don't worry about it. Just until they kind of get limp. All right, guys, we're back. The noodles are half done. Pour out the boiling water, fill it up with cold water, let it sit for a minute, and then pour that out too. Otherwise, you're gonna burn your fingers. You don't want that.
No!
So we're gonna take the easy way out today. I've got a jar of my favorite pasta sauce. Really? This one is awesome because it uses extra virgin olive oil and no sugar. This is the Italian's trick. They put a layer of sauce on the bottom to start off with so that the noodles don't stick to the bottom of the pan. Aren't they clever?
That is very clever.
It is. I love that. It's a great trick. Alright, so then obviously the noodles are going to be the first layer. Just make sure everything's coated so that it doesn't stick. So I think we're doing about 4 noodles for the first one. Oh, this pan's big. You must have been the biggest in your class. I haven't used this one in a while. I usually use a smaller pan. So we're going to have to put one across this way too. Alright. No problem. If there's a little hole there, don't worry about it. That's what she said.
No!
So here's how the sauce turned out. Or I guess you saw that already anyway. So we're going to be pouring about half of the sauce on there. This is so decadent and so delicious. This is sure to be a showstopper. My mom cannot stop talking about this recipe. She begged for me to make it today, so that's how good it is. Alright, so here's the mushrooms. They're all cooled off too. Don't try and do this with hot mushrooms. It's not going to be fun. So, look, I just split it in half. So we're going to sprinkle half across the top. If you don't like mushrooms, you could use a different vegetable. You could do peppers. You could do potatoes even. I don't know if you want to do a double starch, but there's nothing wrong with that. Then we're going to take a little bit more sauce. We're just going to drizzle a little bit. Don't use too much sauce because the top uppermost layer is going to be all sauce. So make sure you leave enough for the top layer. Then we're going to start all over again. We're going to do same order. Noodles, spinach, mushrooms, another layer of pasta. Alright, this dish is decadent, but it's easy enough to do for through the week if you wanted to do it through the week. It'll taste like you've been in the kitchen all day cooking, but only you know that you haven't. And if you've got some lasagna noodles left over, you could totally just cut them up and save yourself a little spinach in there and just like do a little bowl.
Roll up or something?
Yeah, something. Yeah, one. One little roll up. Then the top layer of this is just all sauce. And this needs to go in the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes to an hour. Very important. You're going to want to put foil on the top of this. You're not going to want to cook this uncovered because it's going to make the pasta crunchy. And you don't want any of your guests biting down on a hard piece of pasta. It's a real toothbuster. Alright. You get in there. You have to hide away and be beautiful and delicious when I come back. Alright, so here it is out of the oven. We're about to pack it up to go to our Thanksgiving celebration. But we will get some photos of it, possibly at dinner, maybe just when we get back. We'll see what happens. But this is not cut. This is in the pan still, obviously. Well, that was a success. We have the beautiful lasagna right here, the spinach lasagna. It was decadent, it was delicious, it was moist, perfectly cooked. I just know you're going to love it if you give it a chance. It's really good. So,
Try it out.
Would you circle, do you like me, yes or no, and
Send it back.
I appreciate you guys watching. Let us know if you do try it. And until next time, much love.